The AIFC is the new global financial hub. It has combined advanced technologies, the latest methods of regulation, and introduced English law and international arbitration. Watch the program, the Astana International Financial Center, to learn more. In today's episode, formation of the asset management market, private banking and its impact on the Kazakhstan's capital market, development of local capital market to help generate $123 billion by 2025. The well-being of the population remains one of the most important tasks of the Kazakh society for many years. The country reforms the legislative basis of economic activity, improving market relations and the functioning of social facilities. Of course, all these transformations must represent different directions of state policy. One of them is the creation of the best conditions for the investment. The Astana International Financial Center contributes to the development of asset and capital management markets not only in the region. "70% of Americans have stocks and earn extra money on this," they observe stock quotes. We will now teach Kazakhstan residents to invest money in stocks, to monitor how companies work, to get the dividends, and to get rich on that. Therefore, I have great hopes for the Astana International Financial Center. It has already started working on January the 1st. The full operation will take up to 6-12 months, and we will see how this will work. It will be very interesting. This will also attract foreigners. Many people will travel here, do their business, solve issues for the whole region. We have China next door, Russia, our Central Asian neighbors. They all can work here and get investments for their economies. One of the advantages of Kazakhstan from the creation of its own international financial center is the flow of investment to the country. Studies have shown that wealthy citizens of Central Asian countries and the Eurasian Economic Union have a significant amount of savings. By the way, according to the international agreement, the financial market of the Eurasian economic space should be formed by 2025. The unification of this sector will contribute to an efficient distribution of capital, diversification of risks, removal of barriers, as well as increased competition among banks and insurance companies. Of course, this will increase the liquidity of AIFC several times.
Kazakhstan possesses huge amounts of sovereign reserves that in total amounts to about 100 billion, which is predominantly managed by external asset managers. And so the idea is to incentivize those asset managers to open their offices or establish some kind of presence at the AIFC. Having said that, we will put the emphasis on the asset managers' track record, asset under management, and their team, of course. These are the sort of the most important consideration in assessing who should be the asset manager of a particular mandate.
In Kazakhstan, wealthy customers mostly use deposits in local banks or services of the foreign banks because of a limited number of investment opportunities in the local market. Things are different in the other countries. There are already certain types of investors: individual, institutional, and professional. But recently, the financial sector has gone through the large-scale changes that refer both to the investors of individuals. For example, wealth funds that are now players on the market use the services of asset management companies, the number of which has grown rapidly. Usually their founders are businessmen who sold their businesses. Those funds accumulate large investments.
But those people with an increasing wealth, they need additional services. And I think financial institutions in the private banking area, wealth management area, and external asset managers can fill the gap. They can fulfill their needs when it goes beyond the local market, when the client wishes to have access to structured solutions in the US, structured solutions or rather in the equity markets, who want to have the wide spectrum of financial instruments and access to a wider portfolio.
As soon as the investor's funds are transferred to the asset management company, managers get the right to manage them according to the contract. Those functions provide additional flexibility in fast decision-making without consultation with the investor. Using the service of the asset management, the investor gets all services which are provided by the financial professionals, such as investment banks. The benefit is quite obvious. It leads to a higher profitability of assets.
We've adopted legal and regulatory framework, which is basically a combination of different regulations and laws of different jurisdictions. And with regard to asset management, we have a set of regulations that regulate the activities of managing a collective investment scheme.
In the long term, the localization of international management companies can contribute to the formation of country's own asset management market. It will help to generate about $123 billion on AIFC's side by 2025. Experts believe that at least 17% of these funds will be invested in our country. In addition, the development of that sphere will increase the level of financial expertise of the representatives of the Kazakh financial sector. Financial expertise is a professional assessment of the activities of an enterprise or company based on the research and analysis of emitters.
Существует необходимость, существует такая потребность правильного управления, правильного вложения средств.
There is a need for proper management, the right investment of funds, so the yield is quite high, both in tenge and in dollars. Today, this expertise needs to be developed within the countries as well, and it is one of the center's goals. The development of the local market and expertise in the field of asset management can contribute to the development of Kazakhstan's capital markets due to the possible use of the national funds. First of all, the Kazakhstan's National Fund and the Unified Accumulative Pension Fund. Insurance companies can also become a source of the capital market if there will be an active policy for business development, especially in directions of mandatory insurance and life insurance. All these investments can be used to stimulate the inflow and localization of leading international management companies that, in the medium term, will act as catalysts for the growth of internal expertise. The insurance market really needs to be developed. According to the constitutional law, AIFC is also responsible for the development of the insurance market, but we postponed it for later because the internal examination is necessary, as well as understanding of what will be our main projects that will develop quickly. Exchange-Traded Fund, or ETF, is a widely used financial instrument in the Western markets, and it is quite clear and transparent for potential investors. These funds have already gained immense popularity in the world community due to three factors. Firstly, ETFs allow diversifying the risk in comparison with classical investment instruments. Secondly, the commission for asset management is 10 times lower than the one charged by the traditional asset management companies. Thirdly, it is relatively easier to start an ETF. It can take about 3 months, and administrative expenses start at $1.5 million. Astana International Financial Center offers a wide range of services to managers and emitters. Experts already note the increased interest of foreign and local entities, including ETFs, in securities that will be presented at the AIFC exchange.
There is definitely an interest to AIFC from asset management space. We've met a number, like a couple of dozens of leading asset management firms who have expressed their interest. It's just that they find AIFC an appropriate place to be based to carry out their research, analytical coverage activities for the whole broader region.
A while ago, large Western banks began to offer their wealthy clients wealth management services or private banking, which is the full support of the client on all financial issues, including access to banking and investment products, consulting in various areas. For example, tax planning, jurisprudence, insurance, developing a strategy for investing funds, brokerage, trust management. Since such a service leads to more expenses of the second-tier banks, the bank usually sets a lower threshold for the client who uses private banking services. As a rule, the main requirement is a deposit with a minimum of $30,000 to $50,000. In some cases, the minimum amount is $1 million. In Kazakhstan, the segment of wealthy customers who do not have access to international companies is estimated at approximately $22 billion.
The most important thing is our market is still underdeveloped. It is in the process of getting to a new stage. Local Kazakh banks are also operating and providing private banking service, but it is still on a conventional level layer. So we have to say that in order to proceed with this development, in order to develop it further, we need to link the international market with our local market. And as I said, these clients, if they have assets of about 10 million or 20, up to 30, 50, they have specialized needs. And these needs need to be covered by relationship manager, by bankers who know what's going on in their day-to-day activities.
According to forecasts of specialists, by 2025, the total savings of the population of Kazakhstan will exceed $55 billion, and bank deposits will no longer be an effective saving method. If the savings will be invested within the Astana International Financial Center, they can become a stable source of profit. Private banking in Kazakhstan is a relatively young segment of the market, so now it continues to grow dynamically by about 15 to 20% per year. The Astana International Financial Center supports the development of the private banking sector along with the asset management market. The financial center opens opportunities for the wealthy clients of the region and invites international private banking companies to provide their services in the center. Today, the asset management is characterized by quite tough competition, increased control by regulators, and growing demands from customers for providing additional information and ensuring transparency of activities. Companies also need to devote much more time to compliance issues to successfully solve business problems associated with the introduction of new products, the development of the structure of payments, and the consolidation of the industry.
Apart from trying to incentivize asset management firms to open their offices, to establish some presence in AFC, we are actively developing our funds platform, basically. So we aim to become the Ireland of CIS, basically. Ireland is well known for its financial services, not its financial marketplace. It's a place for domiciliation and administration of fund vehicles. So we believe that Kazakhstan do possess all the necessary has all the necessary resources.
Experts have already calculated that by 2025 it is expected to attract $351 billion to the real sector of the economy through the Kazakhstan capital market, which includes AIFC and KC. Experts are sure that the Kazakhstan stock market will significantly increase the growth rate in the following few years. After an uncertain dynamics in the post-crisis period, analytics positively evaluate the prospects of AIFC. The optimism is caused by the underestimation of Kazakhstan assets, improvement of the general economic situation in the country, and benefits offered by the Astana International Financial Center.